Happy Wednesday. We are going to go a bit into the How Not to Die book. As morbid as that sounds, it is full of valuable information on how not to die, at least nutritionally, which is kind of interesting. It was a good, interesting read, so I'm going to kind of go over part one of that. So most deaths in the US are actually pretty preventable and are related to what we eat. Our diet is the number one cause of premature death and the number one cause of disability. The primary reason diseases tend to run in families may be that diets also tend to run in families. For most of our leading killers, so like your heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, all of those things, non-genetic factors like diet can account for at least 80 to 90% of cases. Can't we eat whatever we want and simply take meds when we begin having health problems is probably the question that you're asking yourselves. And for too many people and the authors, physician colleagues, it seems to be the prevailing mindset is I'll just take a medication when I need to take a medication, regardless of the side effects that medication may have on your body. We are living longer, yeah, but we're also living sicker. In public health schools, students learn that there are 3 levels of preventative medicine. The first is primary prevention, so that's trying to prevent people at risk for heart disease from suffering their first heart attack. So an example of this is if your doctor put you on a statin drug for high cholesterol, instead of just saying, hey, fix it through diet, because doctors are not, they're given like 16 hours of their entire career of nutrition, and that's it. So they're not really the ones to tell you. They'll just prescribe a drug because doctors and the pharmaceutical company kind of go hand in hand. They both benefit from each other with a lot of money. But then we have secondary prevention, and that takes place when you already have the disease and you are trying to prevent it from becoming worse, like having a second heart attack. To do this, your doctor may add an aspirin or other drugs to your regimen. And then at the third level of preventative medicine, the focus is on helping people manage long-term health problems. So your doctor, for example, might prescribe a cardiac rehabilitation program that aims to prevent further physical deterioration and pain. And as physicians, the author's colleagues and the author himself were trained not to treat the root cause, but rather the consequences by living a lifetime's worth of medications to treat risk factors like high blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol. This approach has been compared to mopping up the floor around an overflowing sink instead of simply turning off the faucet. If you want to find out what's going on with you, you need to deal with root cause medicine. That is also where your functional medicine practitioners are going to come in. I have multiple that I can recommend. Anyways, given the right conditions, the body will heal itself. So like say you whack your shin really hard on a coffee table. It's going to get red, it's going to get swollen, it's going to be painful, but it's going to heal with time. You just got to let your body do its thing. However, if you kept whacking it in the same place 3 times per day, say at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it would never heal because it would just keep getting whacked. If you eat the typical American diet, processed foods, fast foods, these can stiffen your arteries within hours, cutting their ability to relax normally in half. And just as this inflammatory state starts to calm down 5 or 6 hours later, it is now lunchtime. So if you're having a breakfast that's, you're going to Dunkin' Donuts, or you're going to Starbucks, or you're going to, I don't know what other breakfast fast food places there are. Or if you're eating like a Jimmy Dean, something from the freezer, those types of things are your processed foods and your fast foods and things like that. And then you have lunch, and lunch may be out to lunch. Lunch may be what you brought to lunch. It really just going to depend on, your work-life balance there. But you're going to once again whack your arteries with another load of harmful food, leaving Americans stuck in danger of chronic low-grade inflammation, just chilling out all the time. And inflammation is what causes a lot of damage in the body. In 2012, the American Dietetic Association changed its name to the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. So you've probably heard of this association before, but they did not appear to change its policies. It continues to take millions of dollars every year from processed junk food, meat, dairy, soda, and candy bar companies. And in return, the Academy lets them offer educational seminars to teach dietitians what to say to their clients. So when you hear the title registered dietitian, this is the group they're registered through. It's something to watch out for. It's a very double-ended sword here in the nutrition world, because a lot of studies, like sometimes it'll be like, oh, cereal doesn't cause any heart disease, funded by General Mills, or funded by Kellogg. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, that is probably very biased. And they probably excluded some data to make it seem like their cereals were actually good for you. And in reality, they are not. So you have to be careful out in this world. It is not a fun time in the nutrition world. Please speak to someone that has more of an unbiased tone to them if you're looking for some nutritional advice. That is why I never became an RD, because I didn't want to have to deal with that. So I just do regular nutrition counseling. But what do you eat then? It's probably the big question. So what do we eat? It's been shown with data going back 50 years that high intake of fruits and vegetables is positively associated with good lung function and just good overall everything. Sources of potassium-rich foods such as greens, beans, and sweet potatoes are really good for you, and certain fruits and vegetables may give the immune function an extra boost, such as broccoli. Broccoli is super good for immune function. For disease prevention, berries of all colors have emerged as champions, according to the head of the Bioactive Botanical Research Lab. The purported anti-cancer properties of berry compounds have been attributed to their apparent ability to counteract, reduce, and repair damage resulting from oxidative stress and inflammation. Berries are so good for you. I cannot say that enough. Eat your blueberries. They are amazing. It's critical to understand, again, also what the concept of normal is. The typical American diet, the normal American diet. So when it comes to our bodies, for example, having a normal salt intake can lead to normal blood pressure, which can contribute to us all dying from normal causes like heart attacks and strokes. Remember, if we continue to eat as though we're having our last meals, eventually they will be. Eating the typical American diet will cause the typical American diseases, so we need to make that change actively now. So we are doing preventative care for ourselves, because our doctors are not going to. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, down below in the comments.